Hi, my name is Ariel Johnston of the Tasty Balance, and I am partnering with Midwest Dairy to bring you a baking video today, and we are going to be making some amazing apple cider donuts. I'm going to walk you through the entire process. It'll be super simple. We're going to incorporate some dairy ingredients to make these donuts, and they will be delicious. So the very first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take a saucepan and I am going to add a cup and a half of apple cider in there, and I'm going to put this on a medium heat, and we are just going to reduce this down, make it super concentrated and flavorful, and I'm going to reduce this down for about 20 minutes till I have about a half cup. Okay, so while the apple cider is reducing, we're going to go ahead and add our dry ingredients together. So I have some flour here, and anytime I add flour to a baked good, I like to stir up my flour before to kind of incorporate some air. This is going to prevent you from adding too much flour in there and making the donuts or whatever your baked good is pretty dense. So I like to just stir it around. You can even whisk it, and then measuring a cup full of flour using all-purpose flour with this, and then we're gonna level it out and put it in a large mixing bowl. I've also got a teaspoon of baking soda, 3/4 teaspoon of baking powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Usually I use kosher salt whenever I'm baking. And then for our flavor, I have a teaspoon of cinnamon and a teaspoon of apple pie spice. So I'm gonna add all of those ingredients together and whisk it, making sure they're all incorporated together. And set that aside, and then we are going to add all of our wet ingredients together along with the sugars. So for this portion, I have a half cup of milk. Pour that in there, and then we have a half cup of brown sugar that's been packed down. Adding that along with a half cup of granulated sugar. 1 egg to crack in there, 1 large egg. Cracking that open, being careful of any shells that drop in there. And then I have 2 tablespoons of butter. And with this and with any baked good, really, I love using real butter instead of margarine. Butter has a higher fat content than what the margarine is, and that is just going to make your baked goods taste that much more rich and delicious, really. And then I also have a teaspoon of vanilla extract. So we are going to mix all of these together. Making sure to break up my yolk in there, get the sugars mixed up. And then we're gonna add it to our dry ingredients. So I'm gonna add my flour mixture in here. All right, so I'm mixing my dry ingredients along with my wet ingredients. And anytime I add flour to a liquid, it's gonna form gluten. And gluten is a protein, it's gonna give our baked goods some structure. So anytime I do add it to a liquid, I don't wanna overmix it too much. That's gonna make these baked goods kind of tough. So just until it's incorporated in there and got everything mixed in. And then of course we're gonna add our half cup of apple cider in there. This, along with the cinnamon and the apple pie spice, is really going to give it a nice flavor. And concentrating this down is really going to make that flavor really pop and be apparent. So, mixing that all together. And then the next thing that I'm going to do is I have a couple things that we can do depending on what you have at home. So we have a donut, just a silicone donut tray, as well as just a muffin tin if you don't have a donut tray at home. If you do the muffins, just bake them 1 or 2 minutes longer since they're a little bit bigger. Otherwise, for our donuts, I'm going to spray these and just spoon my mixture in there. Once I have that spooned in there, I'm going to put them in the oven for about 10 to 12 minutes. Okay, so for this next part, I took out my donuts from the oven. I let them cool just a little bit. And then we're gonna take 6 tablespoons of melted butter. Going to just dip the top of my donut in there. And then I've got a cup of granulated sugar along with 3/4 teaspoon of cinnamon and 3/4 teaspoon of apple pie spice. Set that there, and there you go, a delicious baked apple cider donut, and I hope you enjoy.